Hello and welcome to the Power of Healing Your Energy. This show is weekly, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is on podcast as well, and it's all throughout social media. So get ready. It's all about your light, your energy, and your healing. Depression and anxiety are a side effect of not living your life intuitively, not trusting your gut, the lost connection with self and others. Hi, I'm Christine with 24 Karat Healing. I'm your spiritual medium, intuitive energy coach, and old soul healer. And each week I have a guest or a subject. And this week is episode number 22, so that you're looking at for energy. And it is the Power of Mara Marchesi. And she is going to talk all about color therapy and how creativity works inner child healing. And just a little bit about Mara. She is an intuitive and creative coach, and she helps creative professionals to use their intuition to follow their purpose. She teaches the importance of reconnecting to yourself and listening to your feelings, messages, physical pains that are all messages that want to guide you towards making the right decisions in your life and follow your purpose. And her holistic approach to coaching using color therapy, chakras, crystal therapy, and other intuitive practices to guide her clients and help them reach their inner child and heal their inner child. She's also a speaker and host of the podcast, Intuitive Queens Podcast. Hello, Mara, and welcome. Welcome
Hi,
to the
Christine.
show.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm in Canada. Please let everybody know where you are as well.
I am in London.
London. All right. So what time is it in London? Because it's 4 p.m.
It's
here.
11 p.m. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So
So
are you
hence
in that?
my face. So
Well, welcome. Thank you for coming on. I love the name of the podcast, Intuitive Queens. I think that's a powerful, to me, I just see it as a symbol of owning your power. How did you come up with the name for the podcast?
Well, a friend of mine she's a channel, gave me my name, the Intuition Queen.
Oh, nice.
So when I was trying to figure out how to call my podcast, like Intuition Queens, the conversation with the Intuition Queen, and someone was like, why don't you do Intuitive Queens? And I went, yeah, because my podcast is just sharing stories with other women that have at some point decided to follow their intuition. They're now living their purpose. So there are people that do nothing of what we do. They do something completely different, but life brought them through a tragedy or through a painful story, or just simply through a normal point in which you get, okay, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to go this way. So I think each and every one of us has such a powerful story. And I was like, okay, well, we are all queens in the sense of we are all very powerful. And intuition is part of us, that we know it or not, that we want to use it or not, but we have it. So that's how I came across with the name. And sometimes I do also have some male guests, so okay. I add the king to the queen.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that said I see a sign, I'm that kind of girl. And someone said, do you have anything for guys? I'm like, it's for everybody. It doesn't matter.
Because men tend to tell me, oh no, I don't know what it is. I'm like, okay, let's try to do an exercise and let's see what that is. And they're like, okay, so this is the intuition. I'm like, yeah.
So how do you define intuition then? Because I think everybody has a different interpretation or a feeling or.
Well, to me, it's a feeling. And I guess it shows in your body differently depending from person to person. For me, it shows pretty much my stomach and then goes up. But it's that kind of situation where you feel that whatever decision you're about to make makes you feel good.
Okay.
So there is your body reacts in a certain way. So if you have to choose between two things, for example, and logically, option one is the best one, but something inside of you calls you to go for option two, but then you have this debate in between your mind and your body. Then I always say, okay, imagine going for option one and imagine going for option two, and how does your body feels? If it get contract, that's not exactly where you should be going. And if you feel you're expanding, you feel like there is a sort of feeling of relief or happiness, that's your intuition telling you option two is probably the best one for you.
Yeah. And for me, it's a feeling. Like, and it's random as well, and it's very light. It is not negative. It is positive. It's always beautiful. That's how I see. And we could be talking here, and I'll hear butterfly. I'm like, ooh, butterfly. It's that kind of, yeah. So that makes sense.
You need to recognize your way, because everybody is very different, and everybody has a sign as a way to feel. So in principle, that's how it is. But then each and every one of us is so different. So you need to learn to recognize which one is your way.
Okay. Exactly. I always say, find your way and find what feels good. So, so color therapy, is that mainly what you work with? Tell me more about color therapy.
Color therapy, it's something that comes very naturally for me because I've always been passionate about colors. But everything started one day when I went to do an aura reading in 2016. And this lady looked at me and she was like, "Oh my God, your aura is green." I'm like, "What?" And she explained that to me. So I went through it. And then when I got home, I'm like, okay, let me just check this aura thing. And I'm like, oh my God, there is like a course to learn colors, and they mean something. And at that point, I had already done first level of Reiki, so I knew all the points, and I knew that every chakra is a color and is associated with something, some emotion, positive and negative, with a physical, with a part of your body. I was like, oh my God, this is so fascinating. Because I love colors. I've always been very much attracted by bright colors. And I'm like, okay, I can put those things together. And when then I decided to become a life coach, and I chose to be an intuitive and creative coach, this just comes naturally. And so I use colors doing a lot of exercises to help my clients to figure out what's going on with them, basically.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. Like when you said Reiki, and I mean that's kind of how I started as well. So we have a lot of I love colors as well. I've been very drawn to super bright, and gotta love this, whatever this is, going on here color wise. I really don't care.
Well, to me, they just make me really happy. Like the first thing is they make me happy. So colors everywhere. But then I started to understand the meaning of them. Yeah.
Definitely. And Patty is saying hello. Hi, Patty.
Hello, Patty.
So nice to see you. Please share this out. If you guys have any questions about color therapy, any questions in regards to inner child healing, definitely, share it out. We would love to help you, and that's why Mara's here. So, color therapy, are you using that in regards to inner child healing as well? And I guess, what is inner child healing? Maybe we should take a step back, kind of jumping ahead here.
So, okay, so you know that when you are a child, you absorb whatever your parents tell you what your surroundings are. So when you're a child, you learn to know what is good and what is bad, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, how you should behave and how you shouldn't. And as we grow up, things start to change, and we might start changing our beliefs and go in a different direction. But something might hold us back because we hold on to old beliefs, the one that comes from our family, from our surroundings. And that involves also starting to become afraid of taking steps forward and stuff. So that triggers you, whatever situation you're in. So it triggers you to respond in a certain way. So for example, your friend doesn't call you for a couple of days and you get mad because your friend hasn't called you and hasn't responded to your messages. And you get triggered as if you feel like you've been abandoned, this person doesn't care. So maybe there is something there that is not really much related to the actual situation with your friend, but there is some sort of feeling of abandon when you were a child. So the way it works, you go through all this situation. I don't know if it has ever happened to you that you felt an emotion that was way more than what you normally would experience, like like this feeling of anger that based on the situation you had just experienced was way too much. And sometimes because we carry on emotions from the past, and when a similar situation happens, we just blew off.
Yes.
So what inner child healing is basically understanding what is triggering you and why this is triggering you. And more often than not, it's because when you were a child, you felt in a certain way, and not necessarily because your parents treat you badly or you had a bad childhood. It's just the way you experienced that situation, the way you decided to react to that situation. So you had your emotions that are very different, maybe from your brother or sister. So we target that, and we try to understand how you feel, why that you feel that way, and go back a little bit to understand where that came from. And yeah, so colors can be, I have some exercises that can maybe allow you to understand what is the feeling that is going on there, where that come from. I like to do a meditation with a butterfly, a colorful butterfly, and I get my clients to talk to the butterfly and ask questions. And normally when they come out of the meditation, they're like, okay, I think I know what happened. So yeah, it can be combined.
No, that sounds beautiful. I mean, yeah, seeing a butterfly is awe-inspiring, and it brings out that inner child. So it's a visualize. Yeah, I get it. I can see all of that. So
yeah, and you trick your mind because like a butterfly is something that moves and is a being. It's an insect, so it's not a thing. So it's kind of like if you're really talking to someone. So it's kind of like tricking your mind to believe that you're actually talking to someone, but really you're talking to yourself.
that is true. And a lot of times we don't. And like, I always say that the brain is Teflon for the good and Velcro for the bad. And we seem to always keep the bad, right? We always remember the negative. If you do a year in review of everything you've done in the year, like we're coming to 2020, if you actually sat down and wrote down everything that you did, you'd be amazed. But if somebody asked you, you'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have done this. But then if you actually write it down, you're like, wow. Or, just even the little things,
Yeah, absolutely. I think we take that way too much for granted. So yeah, and that's why I have a journal and I do write all the things that happen, because I want to be able to remember, because sometimes, and probably that happens to you too, with all the things that we have to do during the day and all the busyness that we have, and you get to a point if something happens, you're like, oh my God, this is so bad. And I'm like, okay, wait, let me go back 1 second because this happened. So it kind of reminds me like, no, wait, because this year you've done this, and that. And if you remember where you were last year, this point, this month, it wasn't where you are right now. So yes, it feels like you're going very slowly, but if you look back, it's actually not that slow. So it just to put the perspective back where it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ego. The ego
Mm.
has a timeline. The ego wants everything like yesterday. The ego, that really skews your whole perception.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. I'm just going to Patty here. She had asked a question. I'm just waiting for it to pop up here. And for some reason, it's not.
I
I'll
can
just read.
actually see it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I know my trigger, not sure how to get over it. My grandparents raised me, and one day my youngest cousin wanted to go on a tractor and I wouldn't go. And my cousin fell off and, oh my goodness, and was killed. My
Ooh.
Grammy said it was my fault he died. Oh gosh.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, that stuff stays with you definitely because
Mm.
it was
Oh, yeah.
traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if you have some words of wisdom. I'll let you.
Well, I guess you're afraid to do things because you're afraid you're going to do the wrong things whenever it's about your family and whenever it's about situation where there might be a danger. So the one thing that I would suggest for you now, it's to really, if you feel you can do it, really go back to that time and try to write as much as you can. You kind of have to go back there in order to release whatever feeling you have. And if your granny told you it was your fault, there is some sort of anger attachment aside from the guilt with your granny. So I would journal on your granny and how she made you feel and how you still feel. And surely there are situations where you can relate what is the trigger for you. The trigger is simply repeating the way you behave, and you just have to look back at what happens to you normally. But there is some sort of emotions that happens to you that can bring you back there. And so the reaction that you have is similar, doesn't have to be the same. So I would journal on this, and I would specifically journal on on guilt
Guilt.
and on anger, and maybe just write a letter to your granny, then burn it out.
Yes.
Be honest, like if you feel she's been unfair, if you feel she, however she made you feel, just write a letter to her. And even if that means that you cry for the whole time, you write a letter to her and you feel like this is really painful to do, but it's your way to release it. And I would say this is the first step, and then see how it goes from there. And then you can take other little steps. But I feel that, you still have a lot of emotions stuck there.
Yeah, like I immediately felt closed in. Like I feel real heavy here. So I don't know if if that's where she's carrying it, but that's what I felt. And I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
And really and you're going to have to go back and forgive everyone involved, including yourself.
Oh, yeah.
That's very important. Thank you for sharing that with us, Patty. I'm sure that wasn't easy. And just let us know if you have any more questions related to that, or if you're still struggling. And of course, any questions? I'd love to know where everybody's from. If this is your first time, let us know where you're from, or if you've been here before, say hello. And if this is the replay, just put up replay and ask a question. Myself or Mara, we will be interactive even after the show. If there's specific questions for you, I'll of course tag you in the comments, just so you participate. Because sometimes people get lost in the comments. It happens. Yeah.
And give me time, guys, because I might be asleep when you write, but I'll come back to you.
Of course. All right. So more about the color therapy. how do you integrate that into your readings? How do you get folks to go through meditation? Like, how does a session work with you?
It depends. Color. It depends. What is the situation? So I do that a lot in my workshops, or I talk to. I was at a university this morning to give a talk, so I get them to do a couple of exercises.
Okay.
So because it's more visual.
Mm.
But otherwise, when I coach my clients, it's all around figuring out what emotion is keeping them stuck. And then I get them to do work on their chakra. And so, depending on which chakra is affected, then I get them to cook orange thing or surround themselves with that kind of color, write about that color, meditate on that color. And really try to notice that color around, let's say, when you're having a walk or whatever, and try to capture the feeling that that color gives you and see where they are at, because when they start doing the work, they might be in a situation where they're really angry, and towards the end they might have release, because then there are a lot of different things. And sometimes I also give them crystals. So it really depends. Being an intuitive coach, it really goes along with my intuition, how I feel about or when I'm talking to them. So there are set ways I do it. It's not if you do A, then there is B, and then there is C. It's really much about the conversation that I'm having with my client and how I feel they should go about.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm a fellow empath.
Mm.
You feel everything. Now, are you like myself? How do you feel the energy off of
Mm.
other your vibes, however you want to call it? Do you
Yeah.
see auras as well?
No, it's something
No.
I love to. No, not yet.
Okay.
No, I don't see it, but I do. I picked up a lot of things from people, energy, but also their situation in terms of what's going on in their life. So, and oftentimes when then I'm speaking, say we are with friends or people that I've just met, they're like, "Oh my God, how do you know that much about that person?" I'm like, "Oh, but he said this." I always been very much observant, even
Mm,
when I was younger and I wasn't doing anything of this and I didn't know my intuition was really powerful. I always been observant of the way people move without having studied anything, and the words they were saying, they were using.
hmm.
For whatever reason, I always gave a lot of importance to words.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would always say, "Oh yeah, but you said this, but you didn't say that, so that it means you don't mean what you just said." And the
Hmm.
fact that the people will react in a certain way will just confirm that I was right. So now I know there is a reason for it. So I just naturally observe. I don't even concentrate to understand something about their person. I just listen. I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is what's going on, and this is," and they look at me and like, "How do you know?" I'm like,
You just
I
know,
don't
you
know. I
know.
just know."
Yeah, I'm a people watcher as well. So always watching in the background.
Yeah.
Lynn is joining us.
Hi,
Hi,
Lynn.
Lynn. Thanks for joining. Let us know if you have any questions in regards to working on your inner child, color therapy. If you have any questions about colors that you may see, or how, you're talking about creativity and inner child. What sorts of things do you suggest?
So there are a few exercises that I get my clients to do, and one is having a conversation with yourself. And say you have a question where you're not really sure how to go about, because there is a part of you that tells you to go in a direction and another part of you which tells you to go in another direction, which normally is your intuition telling you to go one way, and your ego telling you to go the other way. So you can put down all the list, the pros and the cons, but still it doesn't feel right. So what I get my clients to do is to have in mind that question, and then take a little, like a deep breath in and out for a couple of minutes. So then they tune in, stop thinking, and then using their non-dominant hand to write the answer.
That's what I like to do.
Without worrying about how bad is your handwriting, because it's really bad, of course. You have never used that hand. And just write and go with the flow and see what comes out.
Exactly.
And normally that is your inner child telling you what to do. And you can also have a conversation with your inner child and, just really start with your right hand and say, hey, how are you? And respond, well, how old are you? So then you, especially when there is something that has happened to you. So let's say that you had a situation that triggered you and you are in either deep fear or stress or frustration. What I normally say is, okay, take that feeling in, stay in the feeling, and then, okay, now have a conversation with your inner child. Where is this coming from? So what you do is you ask your inner child, you go in really nicely because your inner child might be afraid. So you go in very nicely and you ask your inner child if you can have a conversation. And normally, if you have prepared yourself, there is no reason why you shouldn't. But if it happens, just relax and try again, and just reassure your inner child that you just want to ask a couple of questions. And you go about like this. So how old are you? Why are you feeling this way? What happened? What made you feel like this? And what can I do for you? How can I release this feeling? Is there something you want to tell me? Or things like this. It's really having a conversation with yourself and see what comes up from there. And normally you get really surprised at what happens. There are things that we have forgotten about, but they're still there and they're still triggering us and we don't know about it. So we can't even work on it. But this exercise, I find it's really powerful.
Yeah, that is definitely. I just see like a big hug. I just see hugs. That's what I see. You tend to get lost in my guest conversations. I feel like I'm right there doing it, but it reminds me of actually a movie I just watched, Rocket Man. It was about
I
Elton
haven't seen
John's life.
it.
It was all based on his inner child. Like, it was beautiful. Like, if nobody's seen it, you got to watch it.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it then.
Good, so good. Lynn, or sorry, not Lynn. Jagus is asking, hello, can you get energetic reading from a person and see colors or inner child without seeing the person?
There are people that do. I am not at that stage yet.
Okay.
There is a lady that I sometimes work with. She just needs to see your name.
Yeah,
she doesn't need to see anything, but I am not at that point.
I do. You could be thousands. You could be in England per se, and I can pick up what's going on with you. Even the night before, my dreams are not for me; they're for whoever I'm reading the next day. I pretty much pick up everything that's going on in your life. A lot of it is emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it just depends. I mean, as you develop your skills.
Yeah, because I don't do many readings yet. I do more coaching and more. It's more about talking for me. So when I talk, I normally see the person, of course. So that's because I do readings for maybe friends or things like that, and sometimes for someone that pays me. But I don't do a lot of readings, so I do that for me every day. But
exactly.
So I am not in that stage where I can actually do it. But it's just a matter of developing and do it more and more.
Of course, and you're teaching and you're coaching, so really, I'm sure you're reading the room and the people that are in the room, right? So that it's really one half of another, apples, oranges. It's all perception, right? Again.
Yeah.
Lynn is saying, hi,
Lynn.
Mara. Lynn is in Manitoba in Canada.
Nice, you
Um,
guys. Oh, no
and
problem. My pleasure.
yes, of course, we love any more questions that you guys have, of course. And I love the inner child, writing with a non-dominant hand. It reminds me of Brené Brown. She calls it. She's written many shitty first drafts with that hand, because she said she'd get triggered and then she just starts writing. And the stuff that comes out, she is absolutely, just flabbergasted, I guess would be her words. But she's pretty funny.
Yeah.
If you haven't read any of her material, but
I've watched things that have, you know how many books I still have there? Sometimes I'm like, no, I don't need any more book, and then I buy another one. So and I want to read her books, but I have about 20 there still waiting.
Oh my
and
goodness.
I keep on buying books, so I will get to her. But I watch her talks, and I watch her interviews because I really like her.
She's
I
so
like
down
the
to
fact
earth.
that she has combined the scientific research with the emotions and all the metaphysical, because I think finally we're getting towards that way where people are realizing that we are all interconnected. And it's not science is a thing and emotions are another thing. It just, we're all together in this and connected.
Well, yeah, there's Bruce Lipton, there's Joe Dispenza, and there's Greg Braden. They're all talking about science and spirituality. And I'm reading Greg Braden right now. It's all about the heart, how the heart is actually the biggest brain. When it used, a lot of, many years it was here, but no, it's here. And I'm all about the heart. So I'm heart energy.
Yeah.
What, team heart? No.
Yes.
Anyways. There's another question. What if someone is physically challenged, but then he also put mute. Hold on. He's saying getting drawn to show or to help special needs children energetically, of course. That's a beautiful gift.
I don't understand the question though.
I think he's asking about how to help with special needs, like physically or mentally challenged children.
Well, I guess, you're gonna have to take all the courses that you need to, because yes, you can use your intuition and you can use your intuitive gift, but at the same time, you also have to be very careful, because when you work with them, there are also rules that you need to follow in order to prevent yourself to find yourself in a situation that it's not good for you. I think you can definitely apply all the energetic healing to them. Absolutely. I don't know if that will remove or get them to experience a different way of living, but definitely you can help them and make them feel better. I think you can use those practices with everybody.
Definitely. And
I don't
maybe
think there is a limit.
no, and maybe the limit would be here, but the heart has no limit. No.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
I think
boundless.
maybe what you need to find is someone, if you're not going to do it by yourself, but you're going to go in association or some sort of company that does that, is really getting clear on who you want to work with, what kind of people, because if you find people that are open to those remedies and ways to work, then you will be able to actually help them in a good way. But if you meet someone that wants to stick to the rule and to the more scientific approach of things, and you start to do it to have like some sort of experience in something, you are going to clash on that, and it's going to be detrimental for you in terms of your energy, because you want to do it but you're blocked. So before you get into something like this, get very clear on the kind of bosses or companies you want to attract to put you in that situation, So then like it's just a different energy once you work with people that understand what you want to do and will support you.
True. And then start following people online or that might be experts in this field or someone that works with in special needs, and just throw it out there and just ask. And even ask the universe, just ask.
Yeah.
Say, please show me, please bring me, and put it out there and just sit back and watch it happen. And things will pop up. You'll be like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, all of a sudden you will meet all those people that know someone, have done it before, they can put you in touch with someone.
Yes.
So be very open, but also be very clear on what you want to attract.
Definitely, definitely. All right. So now I'm got your links handy. I will put them into this broadcast, of course, at the end. Is there anything that you want to share? Do you have something coming up course-wise? That you'd like to share with us?
Well, I have a Facebook group that I haven't really, that I will be starting from 2020 to start to put things together, which is called Creative Professionals. Who want to use their intuition to further purpose. And I have my podcast, Intuitive Queens podcast, if you guys want to listen to it and give me a couple of stars and make comments. For now, I am working on a lot of things right now, but I don't know when I will put them out. I want to create a course, but I have no dates, so I'm not going to tell you anything for now. But just follow me and you will see what happens, because I like a timing and stuff, but then I can throw that away. So
of course, yeah. Just when you're ready, the universe is ready. It's all good. But
exactly.
I'll links at the end so people can get in touch with you as well. And I like to wrap this up in a few minutes, but do you have any messages for 2020, or maybe, because I used to be the type that make New Year's resolutions, but I'm actually starting to do this now, but it's not like a resolution. It's just how I go into 2020. That energy. I've done a lot of shows about how do you want 2020 to look for you energetically. And I even do 2020 readings for people that are really looking to align with that transformative energy that we're coming into, which is a 4. And I'm very drawn to numbers. So right now we have 4 likes and 4 people watching, and it is episode 22. So that's 4 again, and 4 is my favorite number.
The 4th of December.
Yes, it's amazing. So I knew that the heavens opened up, everything was aligned, and I would love to absolutely have you back again. I'm actually seeing like some type of a meditation, like an inner child color.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I think that would be fun to do. Yeah. But okay, let's go back to see how I get off track. Let's go back to 2020. Is there anything you'd like to share, wisdom in part for anybody that's watching?
Well, for me, listening to your intuition is the thing, and it's really important to listen to yourself and really forget about everything and everyone, and tune in to yourself and really figure out where you want to go. But if this is too complicated and too difficult for you, one thing that I did last year, I don't do resolutions at the beginning of the year because I'm still working on the year before. So normally towards the end of January, February, that's when I start to be okay, how do I want this year to be? But one thing that I did at the beginning of last year, very beginning, was write on a piece of paper the feeling that I wanted to attract in my life for that year. And I remember that last year for me was important to have freedom because I was still working in a corporate job and I had situations that made me feel stuck. That despite me working towards getting unstuck, it was complicated, it was low, and I couldn't feel the freedom that I was so craving. And I can tell you that this year has been challenging, but it's brought me to that freedom, that has been the best thing that could happen to me, because it was so amazing. So if you're struggling in figuring out exactly what you want and you're not sure, go with the feeling first and then go backwards. What can you do to create that feeling?
Yes.
Where do you need to look at? Like, what kind of people are giving you that sense of, I'm talking about freedom now because I just mentioned it, but say you want to have freedom for the 2020, what kind of person bring you that sense of freedom? Where can you feel free to be yourself? And which kind of people instead make you feel trapped? Okay, so that means you're gonna have to try to distance yourself a little bit from those people and stay more with the people that make you feel free, and maybe attract more people. And the same is with your profession and your private life in general. So look at all your areas of your life. Start from the feeling and then go back, looking at all the areas of your life and see where you can create that feeling that you're looking for.
Definitely, definitely. And I just, I've been talking about 2020 a lot, and probably going to talk about it right up until 2020 and then even into beyond. I'm even thinking of maybe having a special reading as well, like online. So
it's a big year.
It is. Lynn's been seeing a lot of 4s for the past month. Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it's really good.
And 5.
5. Aye.
That's good. That's good. I mean, share a tip sheet on what numbers mean, but I'll get back to you, Lynn, on that as well. But I want to thank you so much for coming on, Mara.
Thank you
And
so much for having me, Christine.
It's almost midnight there, so we'll let you get some Z's, get some rest. And
thank you.
yeah, yes, and I'd love, like I said, to have you back again. So we're going to have to talk about that. And I just want to let everybody know that I have a page. You can find me throughout, social media, Facebook, definitely, Instagram. And I also have a group called Healing Begins, Where the Ego Ends. Join me there. I have a contest on my page as well. I'm giving away 3 readings as well. And add your to mentorship. I'm doing a mentorship. So if you're interested in that, comment below. And of course, if you're interested in the 2020 energy reading, comment below as well to get in on that. I'm only taking a few for next year. And yes, I did share that with you, Lynn. Sorry, I'm just reading that quick. I want to wish everyone an amazing week. Remember, the energy for the week is all about the angel of love and caring, tender connections. So that means, more of heart energy here, guys. And please remember, healing begins where the ego ends. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.